The mining colony on Kepler 442b had been Marcus Chen's home for 3 years. It wasn't glamorous work, but the pay was decent and the distant Earth governments rarely bothered with backwater operations like this one. The colony consisted of 47 humans and a handful of Valthene traders who'd established a small outpost nearby. Marcus had never paid much attention to the Valthene. They were tall, willowy beings with luminescent skin that shifted between pale blue and violet, depending on their mood. They kept to themselves mostly, conducting their business with quiet efficiency. The only exception was a young Valthene girl, barely adolescent by their standards, who seemed fascinated by the human miners. She would watch them work from a distance, her large opalescent eyes tracking their movements with innocent curiosity. The humans had nicknamed her Shimmer because of the way her skin sparkled in Kepler's dual suns. On the day everything changed, Marcus was running diagnostics on the excavation equipment near the colonial warehouse. The facility stored volatile drilling compounds and fuel cells, necessary for their operation but dangerous if mishandled. He heard Shimmer's melodic voice before he saw her, calling out in broken standard as she approached the warehouse entrance. "Human friend, I bring Father's trade manifest." Marcus looked up just in time to see the warehouse door malfunction, sparks cascading from the electronic lock. His blood went cold. 3 days ago, he'd filed a maintenance report about faulty wiring in that sector. The request had been ignored, labeled low priority by station management. The sparks intensified. Time seemed to fragment into crystalline shards of awareness. Marcus saw the spark reach the fuel vapor leaking from a damaged container. He saw Shimmer frozen in the doorway, her skin flashing bright white, the Valthene expression of sudden fear. He saw the initial flash of ignition, the split second before the entire warehouse became a fireball. His body moved before his mind could catch up. Marcus crashed into Shimmer with the full force of his momentum, wrapping his arms around her slender frame and twisting his body to shield her. They hit the ground hard, rolling away from the warehouse entrance. The world turned into sound and fury, a deafening roar as the explosion tore through the building, sending a deadly wave of shrapnel and debris outward in all directions. Something hot and sharp punched through Marcus's back. Then another, and another. He felt each impact like a hammer blow, felt the wetness spreading across his uniform, but he kept his body curved around Shimmer, kept himself between her and the destruction. The explosion's shockwave passed over them. Debris rained down, twisted metal, shattered plascrete, burning fragments of equipment. A piece of hull plating the size of his hand embedded itself in his shoulder. Marcus gritted his teeth against the pain but didn't let go. "Don't move," he managed to gasp. "Stay down." When the immediate danger passed, Marcus tried to lift himself up. His arms wouldn't cooperate. The adrenaline was fading, and with it came the full weight of his injuries. He could feel at least 6 major pieces of shrapnel in his back and sides, could taste blood in his mouth. His vision was beginning to tunnel. Shimmer squirmed out from beneath him, her skin cycling rapidly through colors. White fear, green distress, red alarm. She was saying something in her own language, her hands fluttering over his injuries without touching them. Marcus wanted to tell her he was okay, that she should run and get help, but the words wouldn't come. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was Shimmer's face hovering over his. Tears. Actual tears. Something he didn't know Valthene could produce, streaming down her luminescent cheeks. Consciousness returned slowly, accompanied by a gentle humming that seemed to resonate in his bones. Marcus's first coherent thought was that he should be dead. His second was that he didn't hurt nearly as much as he should. He opened his eyes. The room around him was like nothing he'd ever seen. The walls seemed to be made of living crystal that pulsed with soft bioluminescent light. The air smelled of ozone and something sweet, like honeyed flowers. And surrounding his bed were Valthene, at least 20 of them, watching him with those large, unblinking eyes. Marcus tried to sit up and found that his body obeyed, albeit with some stiffness. His hand moved to his back, feeling for the wounds he knew should be there. He found only smooth skin beneath the strange gossamer garment someone had dressed him in. "The human awakens," a deep voice said in perfect standard. An elderly Valthene stepped forward, his skin a deep, dignified purple shot through with silver patterns. "I am Elder Thane. You are aboard our medical vessel orbiting your colony world." "Shimmer," Marcus croaked. "Is she?" My granddaughter lives because of your actions, Thane said, and something that might have been a smile crossed his alien features. She stands here now, whole and unharmed. The crowd parted and Shimmer moved forward. Her skin was cycling through gold and pink, colors Marcus had never seen on a Valthine before. She approached his bed and, in a gesture that seemed almost human, took his hand in both of hers. "You saved me," she said in standard, her accent thick but her words clear. "The humans teach 1 life for 1 life is fair trade. But you gave your life for mine and asked nothing. This we do not understand. It's just what you do," Marcus said, confused by the weight everyone seemed to be placing on his actions. "You were in danger. I could help. So I did." The Valthine around him began to emit a low, harmonic sound, something between singing and speech. Thane raised his hand and silence fell. "For 3 cycles we have traded with humans," the elder said. "We found you efficient but cold, practical but without honor. We believed you incapable of sacrifice without calculation." His skin shifted to a warm amber. "You have shown us we were wrong. You have shown us that humans possess what we call Ashvareth, the spirit that gives without counting the cost." Thane gestured broadly to the assembled Valthine. "These are the heads of 17 families representing over 4,000 of my people in this sector. We have voted and we are unanimous. The Valthine owe humanity a debt. More than this, we wish to know you better, to understand beings who would die for strangers." Marcus struggled to process this. I was just doing what anyone would." "No," Shimmer interrupted gently. "Not anyone. You." Another Valthine stepped forward, this one wearing elaborate robes marked with symbols Marcus didn't recognize. "We have sent messages to our homeworld. They will send messages to the Coalition. Word will spread that humans are worthy of Ashvareth, of the highest respect. Doors that were closed will open. Species that ignored you will listen." Marcus looked around at the assembled aliens, their skin colors shifting in what he was beginning to recognize as profound emotion. He thought about the lonely human colonies scattered across the frontier, struggling to make their voices heard in a galaxy full of older, more established civilizations. "I didn't do it for any of that," he said quietly. "I did it because she was a kid and she was scared and I could help." "Yes," Elder Thane said, and now his skin blazed with brilliant gold. "This is exactly why you are remarkable." Shimmer squeezed his hand, her skin matching her grandfather's golden hue. Through the crystal walls, Marcus could see Kepler 442b rotating slowly below, the small human colony looking impossibly fragile against the vast planet. But it didn't feel so lonely anymore. "When you are healed," Thane continued, "we will hold a ceremony. Your name will be recorded in our sacred chronicles, and we will propose a formal alliance between our peoples. Perhaps your governments will refuse, such things are complicated. But the offer will be made and repeated until they understand what we have learned." "What's that?" Marcus asked. The elder's expression was unreadable, but his voice carried absolute conviction. "That a species capable of such selfless courage deserves to be heard, deserves to be remembered, deserves to be called friend." As the Valthine began to file out of the medical chamber, giving him space to rest, Shimmer remained. She looked at him with those huge, opalescent eyes, and her skin settled into a steady, warm pink. "Thank you," she said simply, "for my life, for your pain, for showing us who humans really are." Marcus managed a weak smile. "Just don't blow up any more warehouses, okay?" Her laugh sounded like wind chimes, and for the first time since waking, Marcus let himself relax. He'd acted on instinct, done what felt right in the moment. He hadn't expected anything in return, but maybe that was the point. Maybe that's what made humans special. Not that they were stronger or smarter than other species, but that they would give everything for someone they barely knew, asking nothing in return. As sleep pulled him back down into healing darkness, Marcus heard the Valthine's harmonious singing echoing through the crystal walls. It sounded like hope. It sounded like the beginning of something larger than himself. It sounded like humanity, finally being seen for what it truly was.